Magandang araw mga tagapakinig at tagapanood ng Health Justice Talks. Isa na namang episode para sa araw na ito at saktong-sakto dahil habang breastfeeding month pa ngayong Agosto, meron tayong isang special guest na pag-uusapan kung ano ba or gaano kahalaga ang nutrisyon na makukuha sa breastfeeding at syempre ang maternal and child health. So, kasama po natin ngayong episode na ito si Doktora Maria Asuncion Silvestre, ang founder ng Kalusugan ng Mag-ina, and she's also appointed to the Education Commission 2 of the House of Representatives, also focal person for health and nutrition, Standing Committee for Early Child Care and Development and Basic Education. Welcome po sa Health Justice Talks, Doktora Silvestre.
Hello at good day. Hindi natin alam kung anong oras ipapalabas ito. So good day. Patricia, salamat sa invitasyon.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, sige, umpisahan na po natin. Ano po ba o gaano po ba kahalaga ang breastfeeding at lalo na sa advokasya natin?
Okay, siguro umpisahan ko ng konti sa by saying ang Pilipinas noong 1989 lumagda sa Convention on the Rights of the Child, at nakasaad dun sa Convention of the Rights of the Child na ang bawat bata ay entitled na maatim na umabot sa highest attainable state of health. At paniwala kami na ang breastfeeding ay paraan para ma-attain niya yung highest attainable state of health. Merong tinatawag na inalienable, hindi mo pwedeng ipagkait na karapatan ng bawat bata, ang inalienable rights to survival. Kailangan mabuhay sana ang bawat bata, to survival, growth and development. And breastfeeding is actually the most potent, kumbaga sa gamot, it is the most potent of public health interventions that can save our children from dying early deaths.
Ano po bang klaseng nutrition ang makukuha from breastfeeding ng isang infant compared to, for example, formula?
Okay, breastfeeding actually, the feeding of the breast milk of a child's own mother is actually incomparable, the best siya, at saka sa totoo lang walang substitute, eksakto ang nutrition na makukuha niya, sapat, sinasabi natin sapat, adequate, sapat, eksakto, tama talaga sa pangangailangan ng bawat bata, in terms of feeding, plus may mga taglay ang breast milk na tinatawag na immunoprotective properties, talagang panlaban ng isang bata sa impeksyon tulad ng pulmonya, pagtatae, yung kadalasang ikinamamatay ng mga bata, Filipino children kapag mamatay sila ng maaga. So napakahalaga na ang bawat nanay mabigyan ng accurate information, para maitaguyod niya ng tama yung kanyang anak. So the mother has the right to accurate information about breastfeeding, and the child has the rights to optimal growth, development, at saka yung right na maatim, maabot yung pinaka-highest state of health.
Pero bakit ganun, Doktora? There are really some mothers na nahihirapan sa breastfeeding. Bakit po kaya? Ano pang naging hesitation po ba? O talagang may challenge? Ano po bang challenge ng breastfeeding?
Oo. Although ang breastfeeding ay natural dapat, it's a natural act, pero lalo na sa young at saka sa first-time mothers na mag-attempt ng breastfeed, may mga challenges talaga. And yun ang sinasabi namin na kailangan talaga sana ang bawat nanay, maging girl man siya, di ba? Yung mga teenage moms o di kaya first-time mothers of adult age na. Dapat sana merong tinatawag na circle, na warm circle of support. Kasi hindi niya dapat maramdaman na mag-isa lang siya, doon sa pagtataguyod ng anak niya. So it starts, the support should really start even before getting pregnant, even as the mother is nagpapa-prenatal pa lang siya, no, check up dun sa pregnancy niya, dapat talaga makuha niya yung tamang education, tamang information para maumpisahan niya. Firstly, no, yung first challenge is yung I don't know, sana marami na nakapakinig nung term na or phrase na unang yakap, no, at the time of delivery. Malagay yung baby dito pagkatapos tuyuin ng agara, no. Malagay si baby dito muna sa puson and then later dito sa dibdib, no. Balat sa balat, no, skin to skin contact, because it really triggers, no, yung mga feeding reflexes, yung mga inborn, mga programmed reflexes ng bata para dumede, at sa mother, tinitrigger din yung instincts na magpadede, magpasuso. So napakahalaga. Isang medical protocol ito na sinusunod ng ating mga birth attendants, no, na pagkatapos ng ilagay skin to skin, tsaka pa lang ikaklamp yung umbilical cord, no, yung nagdadala ng blood from the placenta, and then iiwanan yung baby dito sa dibdib para maumpisahan niya yung first breastfeed na tinatawag. So that's the first challenge. And then over the next few days and the first weeks, sometimes even up to 6 weeks, may mga challenges din sa pag-position, tsaka sa paghakap or pag-latch on ng bata na talaga namang pinapaiting natin yung suporta for the mothers na whether by the health workers, no, yung pedia, yung OB, yung komadrona or midwife, no, and even yung tinatawag naming peer counselors, no, mother to mother, no, nanay sa nanay, nagsusuportahan sila sa pagpapadede, no, kasi bukod sa accurate information, importante din na may suporta, no, na mayroong practical na breastfeeding counseling na nagaganap para sa bawat nanay.
Pero mahirap po ba, Doc, ang magpa-breastfeed kaya umaayaw ang ibang mga moms o parang siguro 2 months lang and then they'll transfer to formula. Mahirap po ba?
Many mothers encounter difficulties, no? Pero we have shown talaga na with the proper support and accurate information and timely, no? Nasa how do you say timely, no? Kung kailan kailangan ng suporta, nandiyan ang counselor. Kung saan kailangan ng suporta, nandiyan din ang counselor, no? We have found na timely and medyo intensive din na hands-on breastfeeding counseling can really help, no? Para yung mga troubleshooting na kailangan, lalo na sa unang araw tsaka mga linggo ng pagpapasuso, yung mga needs, no, yung mga pangangailangan ni nanay na natutugunan, no, nasusuportahan. So yes, hindi natin masabi na it's easy peasy, no? Talagang hindi naman siya ganung kadali, lalo na sa umpisa. Pero we have found talaga na kapag merong talagang suporta at trained na counselor, karamihan sa mga breastfeeding challenges ay nalalampasan, no? At maitataguyod, no? So later, no, pwede natin pag-usapan pati return to work, which is one of the biggest challenges, lalo na kung yung mother ay employed, no, in the formal sector or even works in the informal sector. Lahat yan marami na tayong suporta even in policy, no, yung sa mga batas natin, marami ng suporta ang meron na ngayon for the return to work ng isang nanay.
Ayun, okay. Mayroon ba kayo, Doktora, personal stories that you can highlight pagdating sa supporting the community and encouraging breastfeeding?
Ako ay dati pong neonatologist, no. I say dati because that was what my training was for, no, professionally. Pediatrician ako at ang specialization ko ay newborn medicine, no, yung bagong panganak na sanggol. So talaga namang kumbaga dahil nag-attend ako ng delivery, meron akong front row seat, no? Doon ako talaga directly observing, especially the first-time mothers, lalo na high-risk pregnancy, no? And nandun talaga yung kaba, nandun yung how do you say, doubts, no? Yung sa self-confidence, talagang yung mga, lalo na ang first-time moms, hindi nila sometimes until they succeed, how do you say this, act, no, or experience. Pero ang bawat nanay may kani-kaniyang breastfeeding journey. And ang abiso nga namin, I don't have like a single story to tell you, no? Pero ang advice nga namin, wag mong i-compare yung breastfeeding journey mo sa iba, no? Kasi every woman might have unique, no? Kakaiba ang bawat journey ng nanay sa kanyang kasi kakaiba din yung support galing sa family, galing sa doctors, galing sa health system, no? Pagdating ng nurses, pagdating ng midwives, no? So try not to compare your journey with others and to tuloy dinadoubt mo yung sarili mo na hindi ko kaya to or etc., no? So kailangan talaga yung mindset, napaka-importante. Yung mindset, yung confidence na pwedeng mahirap sa umpisa, pero kailangan confident ako. Sabi nga nung isang breast mother support group, each mother is wonderfully made, no? Nature, God created women to be able to nurture their own young. So kailangan lang yung hurdle na yon, yung challenge na ng self-doubt lampasan ng bawat ina. And many mothers will say after the first child na breastfeed, the rest padali na ng padali. Kasi pabisa mo na yung kakayahan ng katawan mo and alam mo na yung mga little tricks, no? Little practical tips to follow, no? Para maitaguyod mo, no? Parang wag mo munang isipin I'm going to do this for 6 months up to 2 years or beyond. No, just take it a day at a time, kumbaga.
Yeah, I remember din pala, Doktora, I was breastfeeding my firstborn. Parang sa umpisa talaga parang walang milk. Sabi ko, nakaka-discourage, nakaka-guilty. Pero nalampasan din naman.
Yes. Kasi actually, sa totoo lang, yung colostrum, yung first milk, it forms already, napoproduce na yan between the 16th to the 20th week of your pregnancy. So it's already there, no? The colostrum is there. Pero at birth, what the mothers really need is for the baby to be able to attach or latch on at yung baby ang magle-let down ng milk, no? So that trust in yourself and that confidence and that mindset, yun talaga ang kailangan. At saka yung suporta niya, no? Either ng father or ng grandmother, napaka-importante na may cheering squad ka dun sa...
Yes. Pero Doktora, how about naman pagdating sa dangers of smoking and vaping, how will that affect breastfeeding naman?
Okay. Just like the fetus when inside, no, during the pregnancy in the womb, no, nakakaapekto din ang tobacco smoke, you know, whether the exposure is firsthand, mismong yung nanay nagsusmoke, second hand, there's somebody else like the partner, no, or even third hand, yung may residual na byproducts ng smoke dun sa surroundings, no, sa furniture, sa walls, ganun. Exposure to tobacco smoke, whether first, second, or third hand, is always damaging. In fact, in pregnancy, siya yung pinaka-strongest na related sa pag-anak ng low birth weight na bata. No? The more the exposure to tobacco, the lower the birth weight ng bata. And we have many low birth weight infants. No? After the baby is born, imagine natin, ganun din, kung yung mother herself nagsusmoke, or yung partner, somebody in the room or in the home, no? O di kaya residue, no, nung nicotine at saka ibang byproducts na nakadikit sa dingding, sa mga linen, mga ganun, in fact, beyond maybe 10 cigarette sticks a day, sinasabing maka-apekto pa ng milk production ng mother. Okay? So if the mother herself is smoking, pag lumampas sa mga 10 sticks a day, yung milk production niya mismo nako-compromise, no? Nababawasan. There are also data to show na kapag exposed consistently yung bata, no, naapektuhan din ang sleep yung quality ng sleep ng baby, no? So because the tobacco smoke is inhaled or re-inhaled by the mother, nagta-transfer yan sa dugo niya and then nalilipat din to a certain level sa breast milk, no? So diretso din, tulad ng sa pregnancy, na-expose din yung bata sa byproducts ng tobacco tulad ng nicotine, no? At ibang toxicants na tinatawag. So vaping, of course, the evidence may not be as obvious yet, no? Kasi bago-bago pa yung vaping, no? Pero it's very imaginable. It's easy to imagine na ganun din, no? Kasi you're still inhaling tobacco exposure, no? Yung mga byproducts na ganun, no? So it's a good reason sana to stop, no, to stop smoking or stop vaping, no, na meron kang inarugaan, you're caring for, you're nurturing a child, no. Pero ang sabi nga, if a breastfeeding mother cannot stop, no, nahihirapan siya sobra, by all means don't stop the breastfeeding. Okay, because it's still safer to breastfeed your child kesa i-formula feed mo yung child mo kung hindi mo mahinto yung smoking, no? Dahil sa breastfeeding. Yung panganib, no, the risks of exposure to tobacco smoke, but you're able to breastfeed instead of formula, still trump, no, na stopping the breastfeeding. Tuloy pa rin ang breastfeeding, and it shouldn't be an excuse, no, pero there are ways you can minimize, no, yung level. Like for example, mag-smoke ka after, yung talagang kung addicted ka, mag-breastfeed ka muna and then go outside and somewhere and smoke after. Para yung level dun sa breast milk mo, after a few hours, no, na pagitan, then hopefully nami-minimize pa rin, no. So first, try to stop. If you can go cold turkey, no, yung tigil lang basta, it's a good reason. But if you cannot, by all means, don't stop your breastfeeding. Kasi may advantage pa rin kesa yung mag-formula feed plus smoking, no? So, okay, I hope medyo malinaw kasabi ko.
Yes, ma'am. So before giving birth and after giving birth, sana stop smoking. Diba?
And also si husband.
And the husband or anybody in the family within the whole
Yes.
household. Opo, yan. Very risky ang second hand, third hand smoke and even smoking itself. And do we have, Doktora, enough policies or ano ba yung mga current policies ngayon to support breastfeeding in the Philippines?
Yes. Actually, yung ating national laws have gotten more and more supportive, no? Yung pinakauna, of course, was back in 1986, no, with President Aquino, Corazon Aquino, when she signed yung EO, Executive Order 51, which regulates marketing, no? Which regulates the way we brainwash our families and mothers in favor of formula, no? And then, baka mamali ako ng konti sa sequence, no? But we also have a Rooming In and Breastfeeding Act, no? That's Republic Act 10028, no? Ibig sabihin, after na mapanganak yung bata, kailangan hindi sila separated ni mother, no? And then, I believe ang next was Republic Act 11148, which is yung Kalusugan at Nutrisyon ng Magnanay Act, no? Which basically mandates, no, inuutos talaga na mag-invest tayo, no, lagyan natin ng pera yung pagsuporta sa first 1,000 days ng bawat bata, which means habang nasa pregnancy, nasa sinapupunan pa lang siya, and the next 2 years of his life, lagyan natin ng investments yon, ano, hindi lang yung puro salita lang na protect the child, but really invest in the first 1,000 days of each Filipino child, no? And then yung maternity leave, yung act natin, baka mamali ako ng number, 21 ang dulo, no? But that increased paid maternity leave from 60 and 75 days kung cesarean to 105 days, no? paid maternity leave plus an option to take another month off pero unpaid na, no? So, and then an additional 15 days kapag single mom ka, no? Our national laws have improved and allowed us to support women who choose to breastfeed, no, all the way from pregnancy, no, into even her back to work, dun sa maternity leave. When she goes back to her workplace, apart from yung coffee break tsaka lunch break, meron siyang 40 additional minutes na pwede siyang mag-express ng milk, preferably by hand, no? I-collecta dun sa lactation station na sana may ref, no? At para pwede niyang iuwi yon, ano, in a relatively private place kung gugustuhin niya. So, marami ng laws. Sa implementation, medyo humahabol pa tayo, pero the laws are in place, no? To help our women. Kasi kung tutuusin mo, that's a mother's work, no? We have to invest in mothers who are nurturing their children if we want to raise populations that are strong and intelligent and healthy, no? So dapat naman.
So how can so ngayon Doktora, how can our listeners, our viewers help support the advocacy for breastfeeding?
Yes, no? So, hindi tayo exempted porket hindi tayo mismo nagbe-breastfeed, no? We mismo, whether you're a sister, an auntie, a BFF, a father, a tito, tita, no, biyenan, you should join the warm circle of support mismo within your family during the prenatal visits, no, after, and as a mother breastfeeds her child, talaga namang yung supportang yun kailangan na kailangan. Yung tipong, ako na maghahatid, ako na mag-grocery, ako na muna maglalaba, no, hindi yan dapat solohin ng isang breastfeeding mother, no? Yung mga household chores, yung mga errands na kailangan gawin, hindi yan dapat solohin ng isang nanay, no, na lalo na't nagbe-breastfeed siya, no? In the community, you can also contribute, no? Marami ng efforts ngayon, may mga Buntis Day, merong mga breastfeeding advocacy groups. Kung nasa mass media, alamin mo dapat kung ano yung marketing rules and regulations surrounding marketing of these so-called breast milk substitutes and bottles and teats, no, yung pacifier, chupon. Dapat, lalo na kung nasa mass media ka, dapat alam natin yung regulation dapat dun sa marketing of so-called artificial powders, no, na pinipigay sa mga bata, no. We have to all be vigilant, no. I just learned na, alam nyo ba, yung leading baby cereal natin sa Pilipinas, hindi ko nababanggitin yung name, no. It has the highest added sugar content compared to other countries, no. So we have to be vigilant. Our children should not be collateral damage of marketing. Our children should not be innocent bystanders to all of these profit motivations, no. Kawawa, no. Hindi sila dapat na-addict sa sugar, hindi sila dapat na-expose sa mga unhealthy na foods. So anybody can join in protecting our children.
Speaking of unhealthy food, maybe you have tips po, how can especially first-time mothers improve their breastfeeding journey? Kami kailan kainin, Doktora? Ano bang tips dyan?
Actually, number one, don't believe na during pregnancy tsaka habang nagpapasuso ka, do not believe that you need to drink formula milk. Okay? Maraming binibenta sa inyo, kesyo you need it for your calcium and phosphorus. Excuse me, but calcium and phosphorus and other minerals you can get from your family food, no? iplano na maigi ang mga meals, no? Dapat balanse, dapat in moderation, dapat variety, hindi naman araw-araw malunggay or araw-araw etc. But be educated, read the labels, no? Avoid highly processed foods na very salty, very sugary, no? Kasi yan ang mag-a-addict sa mga bata, and then later on in life, gusto nila tuloy sobrang tamis, sobrang salty, and then ayan, puro tayo overweight at obese, no? So the prevention ng mga adult diseases actually starts with how we feed our children, how we feed our infants, no? Less than a year, and our young children, no? Avoid salty, avoid added sugar sa diets nila. So and as a mother, especially lalo na kung nagbe-breastfeed, eat a balanced diet, no? Fish, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, yun ang sources dapat natin ng minerals, protein, carbohydrates, and the fats needed to sustain the lactation also.
All right. Thank you so much, Doktora Silvestre. Maybe kalusugan na mag-ina has any other activities, or invite them po to maybe follow you on social media.
We do not have a website, no, pero just check out KMI. KMI is our Facebook page, and our mission is to really protect the health and well-being of the mother and child dyad, no? Yung mag-ina, by the way we entitled our nonprofit, no, we don't take care of the baby alone or the mother alone. It's always them together and with their circle of support, no. Our maiden journey in public health really was Unang Yakap, and that's why if we can strengthen implementation of Unang Yakap in health facilities, whether rural health units, whether health centers, whether hospitals, that's the start of our advocacy in maternal and child health, because it fosters, no, it helps really the first breastfeed and the right start for all breastfeeding mothers, so that they can rear, no, talagang healthy children that are out of the hospital and just playing and studying and becoming intelligent and productive.
Alright, marami pong salamat, Doktora Maria Asuncion Silvestre ng Kalusugan ng Mag-ina. Okay, so that was a very insightful discussion. Sana po hanggang sa susunod na episode ng Health Justice Talks, huwag kayong bibitiw at mag-subscribe sa aming YouTube channel. Follow also our Facebook pages sa Health Justice para sa karagdagang kaalaman at iba pang impormasyon tungkol sa kalusugan at batas. Thank you again, Dr. Silvestre. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Hanggang sa susunod.